I'm just curious to this, like, you just stop using the medicine, you are a totally new person. And then what happened then to you? Like, are you like, now I'm done? Okay, I'm a new person. This is it? Or is it just starting there? Or maybe, I don't know.
From a young age, I was struggling mentally. And, I was always told from family members, oh, it runs in our genetics. It's normal. Don't worry. You're fine. But when I was little, I just thought, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel good. I feel kind of crazy. I think for me, the day I stopped my medication was the start of the process. What I mean by the start of the process is that I had to go through all of the ups and downs, and I had to prove to myself, not just believe. Like you said, I'm so happy you said it. It's a knowing. You go from this like, oh, this could be a possibility, to, oh, I really feel this could be, to, oh, actually I believe it, to, no, I know it in my being. And so I had to transition through that, because yes, on some level I did know, but it wasn't the deep knowing. So there were days where it was brutal. I honestly thought, I for the first few months, actually, it was a big dip where I constantly had this voice in my head. Maybe you shouldn't have gone off them. Maybe you should go back on them. Maybe you should go back on them. No, see, you're crazy. This wasn't true. How could this be true? It was all the voices that were, to be honest with you, suppressed, because I never thought about actually being aware of who I was being. But because the medication in a way masked it, I was zombified. So I feel like during the first event, I had every feeling and emotion I couldn't feel for 10 plus years come up. And it was a storm. And I just knew, the one knowing I did have was, if I just follow what this is saying, and I know my soul knows this is something for me, and that's why I'm here, it's going to be okay. And I've been through hard stuff before. I can go through it again, and it'll make me stronger. So I went head in, and it wasn't easy. Absolutely not easy. But I just started to shift into, I felt like I just kept shifting realities to this new person, until I looked back to a week ago and thought, oh, wow, look, I actually overcame that. That's really cool. And then it was a month. And then I looked back and thought, oh, wow, this is even more awesome. Then it got to a point where I didn't even look back. And then one day I noticed from people telling me that you seem different. And I realized the thoughts I had about maybe you should go back on them, they weren't even there anymore. They just couldn't exist with this person. But I had to go through all of those doubts and fears, and I still go through fears. It's normal. But the way I go through them now with this knowing and these tools, it's so much easier versus before, where I actually thought that because a thought came that wasn't unwanted, that it was true. But now I know it's not the case. Just because you have a thought, it doesn't mean it's true. You have to decide what you want to do.
You might be also like, peeling off all these generational things. So, also, what your parents might told you, like, this is in our genetics, we are going through this, and maybe your grandparents, they had something similar like that, and you're peeling it all off. And then on the age of 16, you were diagnosed, you believed in it for 10 years, 9 years. You are like, hey, I am this. And now you are kind of unraveling of who you truly are. And that is energy. That is really energy. So, oh my God, this is so awesome, Siena, really so awesome. I want to ask you, actually, the person you have become and also becoming during this healing, like, what kind of person have you become? Can you tell us about this Siena now? Is she a more loving person? How is Siena now?
So I feel, as you were saying, as you peel the layers, you go back, you start to become bare, and you start to become your natural state. And one thing I always, felt when I was growing up was I truly was a loving soul. I just lost myself and I forgot how to love. And so one person I feel like, again, is I feel like my true kid self. And it's like, it's such a magical feeling, because now I know that I can be more loving. I am a more loving version of myself. And so for me, the work shifted to not being about the things and the healing. It was like, how can I be a better person? Truly, how can I be less reactive, more patient, more kind, more supportive. And so lately, my focus and who I have become, but I'm also still becoming, is genuinely a more compassionate person, someone who can actually understand, even if someone's yelling at you, wow, like this person is still beautiful. They're still a part of this world. And I feel, because I used to be there, I feel for this person, and I'm not going to give up my energy, but I'm going to use it in a way that helps uplift them as best as possible. So that's kind of who I admire now more about myself, is that kid aspect of that more loving, giggly, excited kid who had compassion.